Okay, welcome to the Swing Trading with Cycles channel. We're going to do an update on precious metals today. It is December 20th. We'll start with GDX because that's the weakest of the three between gold, silver, and the miners, which is a little bit of a concern, but let's talk through it, right? So this one has a swing high on the 27th, so December 13th, so a little bit ago. And this is a Tuesday, again, December 20th. We made another low yesterday, Monday, and today we have a swing low, right, by crossing above the high that marks this candle. Ironically, that high, that level, is the same level as the high from this big down day, this big dump. These lines were drawn from before, from our previous analysis, because at the time when we did that update, this was we had an inside day, right? So we had a big down day, and then I'll just zoom in, make sure everybody can see that, right? We had a big red down day that closed below the 10-day moving average. That's what this blue line is. And then the next day, we had consolidation, though it was green, but it stayed inside. Didn't make a new high, also didn't make a new low per these lines, right? That's the range. That's what candles are. They're just price ranges. And then we just went woof, right? So like this day, in the strat world, this is called a 2-1-2 reversal. So you had a 2 down, a 1, which is your inside candle, and then a 2 up, right? And then we got follow through again. But then we came back and consolidated here, and then we kind of came back within this same range, right? That's what this candle did. It closed below this like level here, which, I mean, the specific level is less important than the idea that we've now bounced back above it. As long as we're above this high here, which is 28.34, we have a daily swing low. And is it possible that that's our daily cycle low on day 31? It may be. I'll say the daily cycles right now are definitely murky, which is not necessarily a bad thing when we're going to look at silver. Partially that's because we've been getting surprises to the upside, which is a good sign. Again, another potential sign that we have our goal 8-year cycle low, which, as I also talked about, is really, you can really think about it in a grander sense, a 16-year cycle. So there are bullish signs ahead, and as long as these levels hold again. But that said, GDX is the weakest of the three, and if we look at the weekly chart, you'll see it has a clear. We actually have. So no, we are not, like, we would need to go below 28.12 to have a swing high on the weekly chart. So we just came above that level today, this is your weekly chart. So we do need to watch that level. But so far we have a high on week 11. It's currently week 12. So we do need to make a new high on the weekly chart. And you can see this blue line is always your 10-period moving average. So in this case, it's your weekly. We did almost kiss that on this decline this week. But this is setting up to be a higher swing low, right? It's just like something like that, right? In hindsight, if we continue to move up. And so that is your weekly. And then if you think about the monthly, we are red for the month. The important level, always remember the opening price. That's everything pivots around the opening price. And so it's really a question of, are we above where we open? 29.73. So if we can get back above 29.73, we go green again. If we stay so that's going to be an important kind of level that we're going to need to get through. But so far, we're obviously rebounding. We're going to have to see if this is our daily cycle low. Let's move to, while we're on GDX, let's just quickly look at the ratio. So the ratio here of GDX to GLD. So on the weekly chart, and I posted about this. So right, we have a swing high on week 9 right now, or we've just got above that level. But right now we have a high on week 9, and it's currently week 12. And so it's a similar kind of situation where, as the GDX chart itself, where we need to make a new high, or this weekly cycle is going to roll over. So as a reminder, this is the ratio of GDX to GLD, GLD being the proxy for gold. So it's miners versus gold. So it gives you a sense of our goal is gold, our miners outperforming gold. So we had this long period where it wasn't, and it's not a coincidence. That was our weekly cycle decline for precious metals as a whole. So when miners are outperforming gold, that is bullish for precious metals as a whole. So we want to continue to see that. So we're gonna watch for that. And so let's go to gold itself, and we're gonna close out with silver. What I want to look through with silver is I want to talk about potential how to sell the top. meaning how to keep yourself in for as long of the ride as possible so that you can sell as close to the top as possible. It's not possible to sell the Pico top. You'd have to have a crystal ball for that. But how do you get close? So gold, I talked about the daily cycles being murky. This is actually day 33. We have not made a new high yet. So our high actually was back here on day 28. So that's important to be aware of because that we were treating as our potential daily cycle high. And it's like, this doesn't look like it was a daily cycle decline, right? And like, this probably wasn't a daily cycle decline. And so this is a little bit murky, but it's murky to the bullish side, right? So that's good. Now, it doesn't mean we're not going to roll over at some point and make a new low. We have to be aware of that. That's going to happen. We have to prepare ourselves for that. But right now, this is surprising to the upside. And whenever one cycle level is murky, it's always helpful to use the other ones for clues. Now, what's not murky is the weekly. So I talked about this. I'll actually go to the monthly chart first. So as I've been posting on Twitter, if you're not following on Twitter, definitely take a look. This was our last 8-year cycle low back in December 2015. We made a clear swing low once we got above $10,088.90. And we kind of sort of never looked back. I mean, we had this little back test here. I mean, really, this whole period you can kind of think of as, not super bullish, right? I mean, look, you can see we just kind of bounced around within the consolidation box for quite a while, right? But we then kind of took off. My point, though, is that was your last 8-year cycle low. And it's possible that September was our 8-year cycle low. That's what marks our low at 1614, right? And so as long as we're above the high from that candle, and that level is 1735.10, and that's a good ways down, right? That's almost $100 down from where we are now, right? And so that means we could see a lot of downside and still the potential long-term cycle low is intact. And so that's important when you think about the weekly cycle. If our 8-year cycle was in September, then this must have been the ICL, right? Because we have this like triple bottom kind of situation here, right? You see that? These 3 wicks. And so it's like, well, which one is the weekly cycle? And so this is a little bit esoteric, but I think you'd go with this one. And by that count, this is week 12. What's important, though, is we're trying to make new highs. I mean, look how bullish this candle is. Now, it's still just an inside candle. We're still inside the range from last week. But there's clearly buying pressure in here, right? And I marked this swing low, which we're going to want to hold. We've just kind of formed another one, though. It doesn't mean we can't go below it. Price is going to do what it wants to do, but like right there, right? Like in that area, right? And so you start to paint a picture of like, this is your weekly cycle, right? And if this is week 12, we could easily rally for another 3, 4, 5 weeks into a week 15 high. And we'll talk about this with silver, but gold's really bullish weekly cycle was 20 weeks. That was back one of the COVID ones where we really kind of made that all-time high, right? So doesn't mean we have to have a 20-week cycle here, but even if you're conservative, let's say it's just, the cycle wasn't 20 weeks. The cycle was actually 27 weeks, but the rally was 20 weeks. That's the important thing. So a 20-week rally, a 7-week decline. And so in this case, maybe it's not even 20 weeks and it's just 15-week rally and a 5-week decline or something like that. The point is, there's reason to believe there could be a lot more upside here in terms of time. Like, we're relatively early, even if you count this as your ICL and not this, right? And so that's gold. Again, think about the fact that we may have the 8-year cycle low behind wind at our back. What does that mean for silver, right? And so first off, that bullish period that everyone is thinking about is that weekly cycle that happened for COVID, where after COVID, I should say, where we rally, depends on how you count it, but well over 100%, depends on, from the Pico bottom is 155%, right? And so are we going to get something like that? And it doesn't even have to be that crazy a rally. Like, let's just say it's even 50% from the bottom, right? Actually, I guess 50% from the bottom would cap this rally quite a bit. Not by that much. That just gets you to like 26, 27. Let's say it's something like 75%, so it was half of what it was from Pico bottom. That gets you up into the 31 range. Not that you should swear by percentages by any means. It just kind of gives you just a kind of a general idea, though, of maybe kind of sort of what we might expect. Okay, so I'm actually going to do a separate video where we go into detail about this cycle and actually kind of look at the daily cycles within to get kind of a sense. I mean, but you can see broad strokes. We got really the thrust of the move in the last 3 weeks of the advancing phase, right? Again, it was it was the same cycle count as gold, right? So rallied for 20 weeks and then declined for 7 weeks into a week 27 low. So in this case, yeah, you went up 56% in just 3 weeks, right? Not to say we're going to get, again, the same exact thing, but we'll talk about that in more detail and that idea of like how to quote unquote sell the top. But right now we're in week 16. We're making a new high. It's just important to know we're relatively late. Like we're not early. You can't make an argument that we're early. I mean, you could try to say, well, oh, this is your ICL actually, or like this, or try to buy yourself a couple of weeks. But you want to have your head on. You want to have it's like simultaneously you want to have your head on a swivel, but make sure that you're not too tight almost with your stop. But like this is just a glorious uptrend that's developing here, right? Like you can see that higher low, that higher low. Now, with respect to the daily chart and the daily cycle, I should say, there's some question as to like, is this a daily cycle low? And so this is day 21, or is this all one daily cycle and this is day 46? In some ways, it doesn't really matter. You can see we made highs above the previous daily cycle lows, and we not only made a high above it, we also held a higher low basically at the same level. That's really important. You need to hold those higher lows as well. So it's not just about the higher highs. We made this higher high, nice higher low, higher high, nice higher low, higher high, so far higher low. We are going to get a decline at some point, but I mean, we're kind of riding the 10-day moving average at this point. But the weekly, do be aware, look how far above the 10-week moving average we are, right? At some point, we're going to get the weekly cycle decline and we're going to come crashing back down to earth. You want to make sure that you're positioned to like either have some dry powder so you can add to your existing position, or at the very least, you don't want to make the wrong decision right then and there, right? And so so week 16, we want to be a little bit cautious, but I mean, look at this monthly chart. And again, keep in mind, we probably have the gold 8-year cycle low behind us. And so this is going to be a very interesting, like I want to say 1 to 2 month period where we could see silver. We're at 24 now. We could see us test the $30 level. It's in striking distance now. And again, we'll have a separate video where we talk about that in detail. But we will leave it at that for our precious metals update. Actually, last thing we'll do is look at the gold to silver ratio. So we've been tracking this on like a daily cycle level. So, right. It looks like we started to roll up. So we made a little high on day, like after this swing low here. And now we've started to roll over again. That's good news for silver. So again, it's that kind of situation where you're expecting a bigger decline. You're expecting a DCL given how late we are in the cycle. But we're just not getting it.